Tottenham Hotspur chairman Daniel Levy is set to be given the freedom of the City of London. Various reports are stating that Heung-Min Son is available for between 15 and 20 million pounds, and there is interest from the MLS as Los Angeles Football Club want to sign the South Korean star. Tottenham Hotspur target Morgan Gibbs-White has now joined up with his Nottingham Forest squad in Portugal for their pre-season tour. The Daily Mirror are stating that Millwall are interested in Tottenham's Alfie Devine, and James Maddison is now back in full training. Hi everyone, hope you're well. Chris Cowlin here. This is another episode of Tottenham News where I'll be going for all of the latest Spurs news, rumours and reports. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. And a big thank you to every single one of you. We have now reached 180,000 subscribers on the YouTube channel. I cannot thank all of you enough. And now 145 million of you have pressed that play button on YouTube. It is absolutely insane, these numbers. So thank you so much for all of your incredible support over these last few years. So let's start with a couple of short ones. Now, the Daily Mirror have just reported that Millwall are interested in signing Tottenham's Alfie Devine on a permanent deal during this summer transfer window. Tottenham Hotspur target Morgan Gibbs-White has now joined up with the Nottingham Forest squad in Portugal for their pre-season tour. And James Maddison has stepped up his recovery this week as he returned to full training during the halfway stage of pre-season at Hotspur Way. Now on Friday, the Tottenham Hotspur Women will find out their WSL fixtures for the 2025-2026 campaign. The dates for Tottenham Women's 22 league games will be announced at 10 a.m. on Friday, the 25th of July. The WSL will kick off across the weekend of the 6th and 7th of September, while the final weekend of matches will be played across the 16th and 17th of May 2026. There will be a winter break in the division, which shall commence on the 22nd of December. With the season resuming on the weekend of the 10th and the 11th of January. For the 25-26 campaign, the two top teams in the Women's Super League 2 will be automatically promoted, while the 12th place side in the WSL and the 3rd place team in the WSL 2 will compete in a playoff game at the end of the season. Now, the Standard have just reported that Tottenham Hotspur chairman Daniel Levy is set to be given the freedom of the City of London. Daniel Levy was nominated at a City of London meeting on Wednesday and is expected to receive the honour at a ceremony at Guildhall this year. The freedom of the City of London is awarded to individuals as a way of paying tribute to their outstanding contribution to London or public life, or to celebrate a very significant achievement. Now, there has been a lot of speculation about Tottenham Hotspur captain and South Korean star Heung-Min Son, about his possible departure ahead of the new Premier League campaign, which of course kicks off on the 16th of August for Spurs against Burnley at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. Italian journalist and transfer expert Fabrizio Romano on the situation has stated that Los Angeles FC have approached Heung-Min Son over potential transfer for this summer as their new superstar. Talks are at early stages as Los Angeles want to try, but Son and Spurs have to have the final say. Thomas Frank will also speak to Son and discuss his future. And The Athletic have just reported that Los Angeles are pushing hard to sign Tottenham Hotspur star Heung-Min Son in this summer transfer window, according to multiple sources briefed on talks. No major progress as yet, but Los Angeles are trying hard to get the South Korean superstar for 2025 and beyond. Also on this story, a report has just been published by the Daily Mirror, and they are stating that Tottenham are considering £15 million transfer bid for Heung-Min Son, but he won't leave yet. Tottenham are considering offloading Heung-Min Son this summer with interest from the MLS, but the club cannot sell the striker before their pre-season tour unless they want to cop a financial punishment. This report then goes on to say that Tottenham are weighing up a £15 million offer for captain Heung-Min Son, with the South Korea star a target for Los Angeles, but no decision will be made before their pre-season tour in Asia. The 33-year-old's decade-long stint in North London could yet be over, with Tottenham open to selling the 33-year-old if they receive an offer between £15 and £20 million. Any move to the MLS is still relying on Heung-Min Son agreeing to move across the Atlantic. The Daily Mirror then go on to say that Heung-Min Son will not be offloaded before the club head east for their pre-season plans. The Europa League winners face Newcastle in Seoul, South Korea on the 3rd of August. That comes after a clash with North London rivals Arsenal in Hong Kong. The report from the Mirror and also the Sun have stated that Tottenham's presence in Asia is massively driven by the appetite to see Heung-Min Son, who is an icon in that part of the world. As a result, Tottenham would lose up to 75% of the revenue they would receive for playing if their South Korean star was absent. He is down as a key player in the contract for the touring Premier League side. If he were to travel with the squad but not play, then Spurs would still lose out on half of their fee. Now, new Tottenham Hotspur boss Thomas Frank has been talking about this situation in his press conference last week. He said, right now, I have a player who is fully committed and training well. If a player has been at a club for a long time, then there will always be a decision for the club to take. Now, my thoughts on everything in this episode. Let's start by talking about James Maddison back in full training. This is absolutely fantastic news. Of course, he is another player that missed the Europa League final back in May, as did Lucas Bergvall. So some of these key players that missed key games at the end of last season are now fit and available for Thomas Frank, because this is the time when the new manager needs the players to fully assess the squad. We've had one pre-season friendly against Reading so far, and the likes of Kulusevski are still out injured, so hopefully we will get these players back in the near future, although Thomas Frank did say about Kulusevski that he doesn't think he will make the start of the Premier League campaign against Burnley on the 16th of August. But it's great to have the likes of James Maddison back. It's going to be very, very interesting to see what Thomas Frank does on Saturday, because we've got that first pre-season friendly at 11 o'clock at Hotspur Way against Wycombe, where a number of first-team players will be involved. Then we've got that second one, where the first team will be involved away at Luton at Kenilworth Road, 3 p.m. kickoff. Both of those are on Spurs Play, by the way, if you do have it. And the under-21s have also got a friendly at exactly the same time as the Luton game, 3 o'clock. So that... every single person, every single player across the first team and the development side in the under-21s will be getting game time, which is absolutely fantastic to see. And then it will, of course, then be very interesting to see who does get on that plane and who doesn't. Who is not part of Thomas Frank's plans, because if there's one or two players that aren't part of his plans, they may stay behind and they may be finding another club. Let's wait and see, because not everyone can go on that plane. So let's wait and see on that front. And it'll be interesting also to see what development players, what youngsters Thomas Frank wants to take to Hong Kong and South Korea, and who we're going to see feature in these games. Now, Tottenham Hotspur target Morgan Gibbs-White has now joined up with the Nottingham Forest squad in Portugal. Of course, he is a professional. Of course, he's going to be joining up with his respective team. But personally, I'm hoping that this deal does get done. As I've mentioned before many times, Morgan Gibbs-White is one of the best midfielders in the Premier League right now. But it is worrying me a little bit now, the fact that we are about to get on that plane, or the team are about to get on that plane to Hong Kong and South Korea on Sunday, straight after we play the likes of Wycombe and Luton and Woking for the under-21s. And we've only really signed one first-team player, one player that can walk straight into the starting 11 or indeed the squad, and that is Mohamed Kudus. So, I would have expected and hoped that Tottenham would have done a lot more in this transfer window by now. I know a lot of people will say, well, there's plenty of time left. But I said at the start of the window, Tottenham Hotspur have got a lot of catching up to do, with all of our biggest rivals, Arsenal, Chelsea, Manchester City, Liverpool have done some serious business. They were so far ahead of everyone last season, and they have done some serious business. They are going to, take some serious catching from any club. The likes of Manchester City are going to probably find that hard to catch up with Liverpool because, they've got a fantastic squad already, and they are strengthening week by week in this transfer window, and they are putting together one hell of a squad in the Premier League. And there are so many teams strengthening as well. Newcastle are doing some business. Aston Villa. There are so many teams around us doing business, and we have only signed one first-team player in this window. I know some people would count the likes of Kevin Danso and Matisse Tell, but these were players at the club last season. I know we have signed them officially, and of course Kota Dakaya as well, but I wouldn't have expected him to walk straight into the first team at this stage. So there is a lot to do. I thought there was a lot of catching up to do at the start of the window, and now everyone around us has done some serious business. So we have got a hell of a lot of catching up to do in this transfer window. Now, the Spurs Women fixtures are out on Friday morning. Martin Ho, new manager, very, very impressed with him. The videos and the clips the club have posted so far, him talking to the squad, very, very impressed with what I've seen of him so far. An interesting one for me, a report from the Daily Mirror have stated that Millwall are interested in Tottenham's Alfie Devine on signing him on a permanent deal. This is another player that I feel that hasn't really been given an opportunity under multiple different managers in recent years, and he's had multiple loans. When are these types of players, when are they going to get their opportunities? Because I said it on the Spurs Chat podcast last week. He played the first 45 minutes at Reading. I thought he was very, very lively. I would expect a player like that to get, game time and, be given a chance. But he simply hasn't been given a chance. So if Spurs do end up selling him to the likes of Millwall, I feel like, again, it will be disappointing. The Heung-Min Son situation, what an interesting one this is. I found Saturday, although we won 2-0 at Reading, I come away from that game feeling a little bit sad about the Heung-Min Son situation. Before the game, during the game, during the warm-up, warm down, after the match, Heung-Min Son, he just did not seem himself at all. Seemed very down, seemed very grumpy, seemed very distant is probably the right word, distant, really distant. And even Thomas Frank went over to talk to him before he came on in the second half. So at the half-time point, Thomas Frank went over to talk to him, and Heung-Min Son, he just seemed really disinterested, and that is not like him at all. I have never, ever, in the 10 years that he has been a Spurs player, I've never seen him like that, be really distant towards teammates, towards the manager, and particularly as a new manager as well, and really distant and really sad in front of the fans as well, before the game and after. And we've just won the Europa League as well. So something is clearly going on. Whether, Thomas Frank has told the squad who is going to be captain. Perhaps it's Romero as captain. Perhaps Heung-Min Son feels a little bit down about that. Perhaps Heung-Min Son has had that conversation with Thomas Frank and the club and said, look, after the South Korea game against Newcastle, he's going to be leaving. I just hope this situation sorts itself out pretty quickly. And of course, I suppose we won't know until after that South Korea game, because there's a lot of money riding on him playing, him featuring in that game in South Korea against Newcastle. I feel like it's going to be a very sad day when Heung-Min Son does leave Spurs. I've always said this, when you've got no Harry Kane, no Heung-Min Son, when the two of them aren't at Spurs, things are going to seem very, very different. But it's all about Tottenham planning to have replacements in place for when a player like that, has delivered so much over the last 10 years. Of course, captained us to Europa League glory, but it's not just about that. Year in, year out, he's always delivered for us. Yes, he didn't have a great season last year, but you could say that about a lot of players, and I do feel like a lot of the time Heung-Min Son, there's a lot of pressure on him to deliver solely, and I do believe that he is a scapegoat sometimes where people just blame Heung-Min Son because they are so used to him delivering the goods. So when he doesn't, people probably criticise him more than others. But he is an absolute legend in my opinion, and whatever happens, whether he decides to leave for Los Angeles Football Club or going to another country, I will always wish him the very best. He's always given his absolute best for Tottenham whenever he's wore that Tottenham Hotspur shirt, and that's why, and he's always had a smile on his face, and that's why I felt a little bit sad on Saturday, the fact that he did just seem so down and he just did not seem himself. Thanks for watching and thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're watching on YouTube, please do hit that subscribe button, like, share and comment below. And if you're listening to this on an audio platform, please do hit that follow button and leave a review if you can. If you do get a spare minute, please do vote for us at the Football Content Awards 2025. All of the details are below. Enjoy the rest of your week. I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe and well. Come on, you Spurs.